Well, this is intriguing. I kind of got an idea what it should be. It sounds like it's in a biscuit tin. Well, it is what I thought it was. In a Starbucks tin. They were two auction lots from the same seller. One was the containers here, which is those ones there, and the other one is the ident at the bottom there, which is the Train Tech level crossing and the wheels crossing kit, although I don't think it survived very well. So we'll have a little investigation and see what we got left. Well, what have we got? I spent £10 on this lot, only on the premise that the Train Tech kit, unfortunately, as you can see, it's a little module with the lamp built into it. I thought it might be their other one like the ones I've already got. So you've got the Yoda flashing lights. And having a look there. Yeah, so they got that bit. There is a pair, they operate in tandem, but it's snapped off at the base, and I don't know whether this camera will focus in. There you go, there's the 3 tracks. I'll try and find which one goes where and solder a tiny wire on and do the same there to try and save it. Bit unfortunate. I don't know whether it was already like that in the pictures or whether it's got broken in transit. It was connected to this clunky bit of wire, which probably didn't help. Plus the containers, they're HO containers. The end has popped off of that one, just needs re-gluing. That cost me more than this lot. I have looked at it and I thought it was a tad overpriced for what it is. You can supposedly fit these with servos. The problem is the skirt doesn't fold, so it's not very realistic. The only one I've seen was made by, I think, Wizard Models, and they don't make it anymore. Unfortunately, the only other one is a Weissman one, which costs a small fortune. Plus you have to buy 2 sets to make a handed setup. So my idea was obviously not to have this as a primary crossing. This will, you know, if I need one in the back scene, it would be a static one with just one set of working lights, which I've already got. I have got a set of lights and a module. I don't know who made them ones, but it looks like they were the same, because they've obviously got the original painted ones, and then we've got some network fail signs, which again I won't be using because my period is still British Rail. So yeah, a bit of a mishmash. It was only a tenner, so we've got some bits there to make a dummy crossing up, which is easy enough. We've got the signal cabin, which can be planted on a piece of scenery somewhere. The dummy camera could be glued or fixed, and we've got at least it's a British Rail Land Rover with a bit of weather in, so that would have been £4 or £5 on its own. So we've got a tenner's worth there, even though it does look a bit of a dog's dinner. And if I can get that working, even better. But another box there. Well, I'll cover up my address. It's got a dint there, took a boot, so I'm going to take some pictures before I open it up. Well, can you see what it is yet? Yeah, packed a bit differently. There we go. Oh, we've lost a couple of people and a park bench. I did do the rattle test and it wasn't too bad, so hopefully Royal Mail have not left me with too much re-gluing. Let's get it out and have a look. So, ooh, we have a unit there, a tower block, and then you go on to, again it's been Englishified, anglicised, with some various bits. It has detached from the base slightly during transit, I think, which is why it's a little bit wobbly, and the wires are underneath, so if it looks a little bit curved it's because the cabling's underneath and some of the lighting is attached to a plastic strip which has come adrift from the other side just to do the back illumination, so it needs a little bit of work, but nothing major. Just some re-gluing of sort of the back scenes in the windows and stuff. But, you can see hash camera work. That's the sort of back side there again with the tower block and the clock. It's not a cheap kit to buy. I did find it's still available. It's I think Golden Valley Hobbies had it in stock, or have had it out of stock, and it's I can't remember if it was 75 or 105. But I thought, you know, it's reminiscent of sort of 60s architecture. That sort of strove on to the 70s with the prefab concrete panelling and such. So yeah, I'm going to take my time with it and sort of think what I can do with it and where it'll go. Probably won't be using it as a train station. It will be maybe a sort of scene behind the main bit where it gives you the illusion of it going into a shopping precinct or a town area. I did test the lamps and they all work. Well, the street lights. I don't know about the train tech stuff yet. Maybe I should call this one a town in a box, because that's pretty much what it should be. I'm hoping anyway that I've got everything that was in the pictures, which doesn't include that bit, which is from the previous one of that big shopping centre type building, office block, motel, call it what you will. You can see yeah, we took it apart. It was a little bit loose and not very square. Some places weren't glued, so we're just redoing it at the minute, and the wrestling is a certain little dog with a packet of crisps. Well, we've got part of what I ordered from what I interpreted was the lot of items I was buying, which is everything we see in that picture. As you can see, I paid 45 quid for that, but in the other pictures you can see at the background there is another row of buildings, plus those ones in the background picture. There's a picture of them on their own. They're not in the box. I suspect they might be the Walther's Merchants Row series. You can see them in that picture at the back, plus that school, and in the middle there is another tower block, and there's another row of shops. That's the ones I did receive. That's a close-up of the school. I haven't got any of those in the box. I thought the box was a little bit on the small side. So as far as I'm concerned, if there's a picture of everything that's on there, then that's what I was bidding for. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. So that's the description, which is basically says HO00 gauge buildings, job of buildings, very good condition. Doesn't say that they're in lots, which is what he's now messaged me back to say, that basically that is one lot and that is another lot, they're all separate lots and should have been advertised separately, but then you need to do a buy it now listing and specify what one is what. That to me says it's a job lot, and that's what I expected to get when I won the bid. So he said if I'm not happy, refund, send it back and refund it and cover my cost of postage. Well, I don't know why people say that, because all you do is an automatic return and eBay do everything, which is what I have now done, and it's all back in the box. Well, a little box of discovery coming. Should be second hand, 10 outs, points, switches, whatever you call them, wherever you are. So, unpacked them all, checked them all, they all lie flat. The springs are all still intact, they all got nice firm clicks, rails are all there, they're all attached to their tie sleepers. There's only one that actually appears to have had a track fixing screw with a little marring to the sleeper. The rest are literally unblemished. They've all had the link wire off of the frog disconnected very cleanly. They've never had the cross wires soldered over them, so they look like electro frog points, but they didn't take full advantage of the electro frog. This is the only one with a slight radius to it, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those and 9 of them. The only one with a touch of solder on it just needs cleaning up with a brass brush on a Dremel. And there's one with a little bit of visually noticeable wear. So £3.80 each they worked out to, with the postage cost included into that breakdown, so I don't think that's bad, considering what are these, £12–15 each. For electro frog, they're slightly dearer, aren't they? Then the only one, I got one insel frog, it was advertised as 16 electro frog and 1 dead frog point. As you can see there, you can see where the track hasn't oxidised on the sleeper chairs that should clip it in place, because somehow they're no longer there. And I unwrapped this one, and the rail was like that, which is a no-no. That's a duffer. It's repairable though, because obviously there was enough, you could see there was enough purchase in the track. I'll do this one-handed and blurry-eyed to hold it in place. Now, as long as its geometry sits there where it would be clipped to another piece of track, a little dab of super glue underneath these chairs will hold it in place. Now obviously that bond will eventually fail when this track expands and contracts over time, but once you've got the track secured in place, obviously the next piece connecting this with the fish plates would hold it in place. Certainly wouldn't trust it in a primary position where it can bite you in the backside later down the line, but for somewhere in a fiddle yard or staging yard where it doesn't really matter aesthetically, and I've got a few that will be finding their life in the sort of staging fiddle yard area, good sidings where they're not going to get a lot of use, or they're easily accessible to replace should they be too problematic. I mean, basically these are, I've got quite a good number. That box up there is completely full to the brim, and there's another box similar to that also. There's a few in that. There's a lot. Plus I've got all the code 75 ones that I bought by accident to sell. And Probably these are sort of replacing the cock up on that one, but what they cost for what I've got planned, I wouldn't be able to afford to do it if I had to buy everything retail. But you know, this is a way around it. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's a gamble I'm prepared to take. And these sort of seem to have passed muster. So hopefully in the future they will come into use.